When the imperial edict arrived, my husband, Noah, was kneeling in the main hall, his face flushed with excitement. The servants were all beaming, saying the general was a man of deep sentiment and righteousness, a man who had even moved the emperor. Yes, how touching. His cousin, who had died in battle, was barely cold in his grave. Yet his newly widowed sister, Jianin Jianlaw, was already 3 months pregnant. To preserve his brother's only bloodline, and to comfort the lonely widow, my righteous husband had actually petitioned the emperor. He requested to use his cousin's posthumous military honors, combined with his own hard Jian I merits, to secure a noble title for the widow. The emperor had agreed. The edict praised him as a man of noble character, a model for the ages. I stood behind him, watching him kowtow in gratitude, and felt that this was the most absurd, most disgusting farce I had ever witnessed. He was using my honor, my face, our shared military glory, to pave the way for a woman of questionable virtue and her illegitimate child. And he expected me to celebrate with him. Noah accepted the edict and turned to me, his eyes glistening with tears. "Eleanor, you understand me, don't you?" I smiled. Oh, I understood. I understood that you, for your righteousness, would have to pay a price. In front of him, I removed the phoenix hairpin from my hair and placed it gently on the table. "Simonin," I called out, "go and ask my brother to bring the divorce papers. Immediately. Tell him, this family is being split. I am no longer the general's wife." Noah's excitement froze on his face. He looked at me as if I were a madwoman. The servants' smiles were frozen on their faces, more grotesque than a grimace. "Eleanor, what are you talking about?" "I'm talking about a divorce, Noah." He just stared at me. "You're not well," he finally said. I ignored him and began clearing the table, scraping the elaborate dinner I had spent all evening preparing into the trash. It was as if I were throwing away all the love I had for him over the years. He tried to stop me. "We haven't eaten yet." "That is right, Eleanor." Ella, his childhood friend, chimed in. "Noah is starving." I continued to ignore them. But she lunged for the soup pot. "He has to have this soup." It slipped from my hands, splashing hot liquid on her. She cried out. He shoved me aside, his face a mask of concern for her. "Are you burned?" I stumbled back, a sharp pain in my back, tears welling in my eyes. The irony was suffocating. For 5 years, he had been nothing but cold to me, and now he was so anxious about her. So, he wasn't a robot. He just had no emotions for me. He left with her, without a backward glance, without even noticing that the heavy pot had landed on my foot, injuring me far more seriously. At the door, she looked back. "Eleanor, I don't blame you. You still have the nerve to cry?" He called out from outside. "She already said she doesn't blame you." The door closed. I stood there, surrounded by the mess, the pain in my foot shooting straight to my heart. I was once saved from a pile of dead bodies by a man. He taught me to read and fight, until I killed the woman he loved. To avenge her, he became my husband. He plotted my downfall, turned everyone against me, and threw me back into that pile of the dead. His greatest regret, he said, was saving me. So, when I was reborn, I crawled out of that pile of bodies myself. "Ma'am, it is getting colder. The lake is starting to freeze." My maid, Winter, murmured. "Not yet," I said, looking out at the frozen lake. "Soon, the ice will be thick enough for a carriage to cross." I saw her then, the little girl, and in the woods, a hidden figure. Ella, in my previous life, on my way home from visiting my parents, I had heard a girl's cries for help. She had fallen through the ice. She looked so much like my own daughter, Pearl, who had drowned in a pond at the age of 3. It was my greatest regret, my lifelong nightmare. Without a second thought, I had jumped into the freezing water to save her, as if I were saving my own child. The cold had seeped into my bones, and I had fallen into a coma for 7 days. The doctor said the chill had damaged my constitution, and I would never be able to have children again. The day after I woke up, my husband Noah brought the little girl, Jade, to me. He said she was an orphan and that we should adopt her. Seeing her face, so much like my pearls, I had readily agreed. I thought it was a second chance, a gift from the heavens. I had doted on her, sparing no expense. But she was the daughter of his mistress. Her resemblance to my Pearl was no coincidence. Pearl had looked just like her father, and so did his illegitimate child. As my health deteriorated, Ella, holding a baby boy, had appeared at my bedside. She was his mistress, and had been since the year my Pearl died. She called me a fool. It had all been a set done up. She had known about my daughter's death and had used her own child as bait. "Thank you for taking care of Jade," she had sneered. "Did you really think your husband didn't know? He was the one who told me which road you would be taking. You were so lost in your own grief. You forgot your duties as a wife. He grew tired of you. Now my son must be recognized. He will be the heir, and I will be his co-gen wife." The truth was a blow. Pearl Jade. So that is how it is. My daughter's name was Pearl. Her daughter's name was Jade. The year my Pearl died, Ella was already pregnant. "How could you?" I had cried, my hatred a physical thing. "That was your own daughter in that freezing water. You have to be willing to sacrifice the child to catch the wolf," she had laughed. "Rest well, sister, next month. Noah will be marrying me. You must hold on until then to drink a cup of our wedding wine." I had died on their wedding day, my heart broken. My soul had been trapped in the house, forced to watch as they lived a happy life with my dowry. I had made a deal with the underworld judge, 1,000 years of servitude for one chance to do it all over again. And now I was back in the carriage, on my way home. "Help me, help." The girl's cries, so deliberately childish, rang out as we passed the lake. "Ma'am, someone has fallen in," Winter exclaimed. "Keep going," I said, not even opening my eyes. This wolf-Jan-hearted child was not worth saving. In my past life, she had shown me no gratitude, only contempt, siding with her mother to torment me. Ella, hiding in the bushes, grew anxious. Why wasn't she stopping? "That bitch, what is she doing?" she cursed. "Help me, Mommy. I'm so cold." The cries grew weaker. Ella looked at her struggling daughter, a flicker of pity in her eyes. But then she touched her own belly. "Just hold on a little longer, Jade. That bitch will save you. After today, you will be the legitimate daughter, and your brother will be the legitimate son. It is all worth it." I just lay on the soft cushions, listening to the cries fade away. I then lifted the curtain. A small body was floating in a hole in the ice. So she was dead. How could a mother be so cruel? And Noah, who had allowed this, was even crueler. He had been a poor scholar when he married me, and it was my family's money that had revived his. He had sworn never to take a concubine. I had told him then that if he did, I would divorce him and take back every penny of my dowry. The law was on my side, unless I died without an heir, in which case my dowry would go to my child, and by extension, to him. So, they wanted me dead, and Jade was their pawn. How calculating. But Noah, you used the memory of my dead child to plot against me. You are a monster. I must have been dreaming. I'm so tired. When I arrived home, clean and dry, Noah was stunned. "Eleanor, you're back." "Yes, husband, weren't you expecting me?" "Did you run into any trouble on the road?" he asked, his voice strained. "No, I slept the whole way." "You slept?" he blurted out. "Yes, is there a problem?" He forced a smile. "No, I was just worried you wouldn't be able to rest." I slept very well. I saw the flicker of disappointment in his eyes. At dinner, he was distracted, his mind clearly elsewhere. His manservant, the one who had helped him keep his affair a secret, rushed in, looking panicked. "It is a work matter," Noah said, and they hurried to his study. "Winter," I said, my face a mask of indifference. "I'm not feeling well. Please send for Zephyr." Zephyr was a friend from my maiden days, a brilliant but eccentric physician. He was known for his miraculous cures, but few knew his real expertise was in poisons. And one more thing, I whispered my instructions to Winter. When Noah arrived at Ella's villa, he found her in agony. The doctor, what did he say? Her ladyship was in shock. The child is gone. What? The child is gone. How could this be? Ella, when she saw him, was consumed by a grief-stricken rage. It is that bitch, Eleanor. She didn't save Jade. Jade drowned in that lake. You have to avenge our children, Noah. He was stunned. Jade is gone too, my son. He was only 3 months. That bitch. She slept the whole way. He had thought his plan was foolproof. He knew she was haunted by her daughter's death, that she would jump at the chance to save another child. How could he have known she would simply sleep through it? His children both dead, indirectly because of her. He would make her pay. He did not return that night. I slept soundly the next day. Winter brought me news. The mistress had a miscarriage. Here is the prescription from her doctor. I looked at it. So, she had lost the son as well. Was she mourning her daughter, or the loss of her golden ticket? This Dr. Lee, I said with a smile. Doesn't he have a gambling Dan-addicted son? He does, ma'am. How did you know? I've heard things. Noah had found a doctor who was desperate for money and could be bought, but my family was richer, and the casino in the city was owned by my uncle. I took out a small red porcelain bottle. Zephyr's medicine is truly wonderful. A loving couple should share everything, shouldn't they? Noah would take it, and so would Ella. Ma'am, that is poison, Winter whispered. I knew, a colorless, odorless poison that would slowly drain a person's life force over several months, making it look like they had died of a long illness. My husband, this is the death I have chosen for you. In my previous life, you and she slowly wore me down to my death. Now, it is your turn. When he returned, he was furious. Eleanor, the coachman told me someone fell through the ice. Why didn't you help? Husband, what are you talking about? Who fell in? He was at a loss for words, his anger choking him. He turned on Winter. Why did you tell the coachman to hurry? I'll have you beaten and sold to a brothel. Who dares? I said, stepping in front of her. She is my dowry maid. Her contract is with my family. On what grounds do you presume to sell her? He was speechless. Someone fell in, and you deliberately hurried away. Winter retorted. How did you know someone fell in, my lord? Do you know them? It is not for a lowly maid like you to question me, he sputtered. My family has a reputation for kindness. Your actions have shamed us. My lady was asleep, Winter said, her voice steady. I was also dozing. I heard a noise but thought it was just my imagination. It was getting late, so I urged the coachman to hurry. When you asked if anything had happened on the road, I told you the truth. Nothing happened to us. I didn't realize you were asking about a stranger. I looked at him, a faint smile on my lips. I didn't even know someone had fallen in. How did you, at home, know? Who was it? You seem very upset. They must be very important to you. He finally realized his mistake. I heard it from someone else. A little girl fell in. It reminded me of Pearl. That is why I was so upset. Oh, a little girl, I said, my voice full of a mock sympathy. Where were her parents? The ice is so thin. If they had been there, they could have saved her. How desperate she must have been, to die all alone. He was silent. If I hadn't been asleep, if I had jumped in, Ella's son would still be alive. Yes, he said, his voice dark. If you hadn't been asleep, that girl might still be alive. You're such a good swimmer. Not necessarily, I replied. The water is freezing, and you know how weak I've been since Pearl died. If I had jumped in, I might have died too. I have no connection to that girl. Why should I risk my life for her? Her own parents didn't care about her life. Why should I? His face was a mask of fury. What a heartless thing to say. My life is a life too, husband. If it were Pearl, I would have gladly traded my life for hers. But it wasn't. And what kind of parents would let their child play on a frozen lake alone? Don't you agree, husband? He was trapped, his anger turning to frustration. I have some business to attend to. He fled. He brought it on himself, I said with a cold laugh after he was gone. He'll probably blame you for the death of his children, Winter said, worried. I'm afraid he'll try to harm you. He won't, not for now. It is easy to kill me, but it is hard to keep my dowry. He is not willing to give that up. I handed her the red bottle. And don't forget Dr. Lee's son. I wrote to my uncle, and he gave Dr. Lee's son a job at the casino. His biggest problem was solved. The doctor was now indebted to me, and I had no fear of him betraying me. As for the household, I was still in charge. It was easy to add a little something to Noah's and Ella's food. Ella was consumed by grief, just as I had been after Pearl died. He, who had been so attentive at first, soon grew tired of her tears. They started to fight, blaming each other for the death of their children. Their love, if it had ever existed, had turned to resentment. He was a selfish man. He expected a woman who had just lost a child to put aside her grief and cater to his needs, just as he had once expected me to. She tried to force him to act against me, but he refused. My dowry was a golden goose, and he wasn't about to kill it. So Ella, in her frustration, came to see me. She introduced herself as a distant cousin. I played along. I sent for him, and when he saw her, he was terrified. I made an excuse and left them to their drama. I knew from my spies what happened next. She threatened to expose him. He, in a fit of rage, slapped her, and she collapsed. She just fainted, I said, when Winter told me. When the doctor came, I suggested she stay with us to recuperate. He was about to refuse, but she, seeing a chance, readily agreed. And so, she moved in. I plied her with strengthening tonics, which, combined with the other medicine, only made her weaker. She kept trying to pressure him, but he was losing his patience. He knew she wouldn't tell me the truth. It would do her no good. One day, the maids came running. My lady, it is the master. He is paralyzed, the doctor said, wiping the sweat from his brow. He'll be bedridden for the rest of his life. I had the servants spread the news when he was alone. I went to see him. It was Ella, that bitch, he raged. She did this to me. You have to avenge me, Eleanor. Cold, I asked, as the servants removed the brazier from his room. I'm quite warm. You're very ill, husband. You shouldn't be so angry. Ella is your woman, after all. You shouldn't talk about her like that. What did she tell you? He asked, his voice full of fear. Don't believe her. Don't pretend, Noah. I said, my voice like ice. The plan at the lake was your idea. I wasn't asleep that day. You killed your only child. He stared at me, horrified. You knew. You're a clever man, but not as clever as you think. You deliberately gave me. You deliberately said you would adopt their children, all to get your hands on my dowry. You used my daughter's death to plot against me. You are already a dead man in my eyes. No, Eleanor, it was all her idea. I didn't know, he pleaded. By the way, I said, a cruel smile on my lips. Ella is in the room next door. You two can spend the rest of your miserable lives together. I had his warm blankets replaced with a thin, rough one. I had the door locked. Their meals were cold and spoiled. Ella died within a month. She was weak. I had lasted for 6. He held on for 3 more months, a skeleton of his former self, his leg covered in frostbite sores. How does it feel to lie there and wait to die? I asked him on his last day. The Liu family's assets have been merged with my family's. There is no more Liu family. That night, he died. My part was done. I gave Winter her freedom and a generous sum of money. Zephyr came to see me. Eleanor, come with me. I shook my head. I have somewhere I need to go. Your time is up, a voice from the underworld said. Your grudges have been settled. Come with me. I knelt and kowtowed. Thank you, my lord. 1,000 years of servitude. It was worth it. You're the new one, a voice said. I'll show you the ropes. I turned, and my world stopped. It was a voice I had heard 1,000 times in my dreams. Pearl.